Hello and welcome back to another episode of Transport Fever 2. We're here in Brookshire County, passing by our Houston construction materials plant, and in this video we're going to focus on clearing up the roads around this plant so that our stone trucks can easily get in, and then we're going to do some detailing upgrades to the highways we placed a few episodes ago. And so as we can see here, we have a little bit of a backup with our trucks trying to enter this truck station here for our construction materials plant. And I think what we're going to do is, first of all, we're going to create a second construction materials plant over here. And then I think we'll just turn that into another complex itself. So we'll have a separate truck station and everything. So hopefully we can keep these trucks separated from everything else, but it'll all still be connected through road connections, and that should hopefully work out in the long run, as we'll have all of our stone trucks delivering stone somewhere that'll be able to take the trucks a little more efficiently. And then I think we'll turn this solely into a construction materials station. So this is where all the construction materials would get picked up and dropped off. So I think that's how we're going to do this. We're going to keep the same amount of trucks for our stone, but we will have the increased capacity of construction materials when we do need it. So if we have a second industry, hopefully by then we'll be able to produce a maximum of 1,600 construction materials, and that should be more than enough to serve Houston and the other cities on this side of the map. And then as for our highways, we're going to try to make these look a little bit nicer. We're going to add some signs, maybe clean up some of the markings, and add some guardrails around here. And so we'll get those separations and everything in pretty much at all of the interchanges around here. And then if we have time, we might even come over to Salt Lake City and clean this up a little bit, just so we have an extension that goes out that way, and that'll help inform us with growing Salt Lake City farther in the future as it expands this way. Alright, so with that, let's quickly get into getting this other construction materials plant placed, and then we should be right back as soon as we finish up with that. Alright, and so here's what this area is going to look like. So we added a new industry here. We left some space on the main road for some regular industry buildings to pop up. And then over here we have our stone drop-off station, which now has 3 platforms for the trucks to space out on. And they get their own private road. Although I'm not sure why that just upgraded. Alright, so we fixed that. I think it was a player ownership issue, but anyway, we have our stone drop-off here. There's a bit of a delay because there was some of the routing got weird just due to switching stations, so it's going to be a little bit before we start to get stone back in here. Hopefully this doesn't start to downgrade by then, but the hope is, so down here we have some details around this station. We fenced it off, and I do know that this industry does get a fence eventually, as we can see here, once it upgrades enough. So once this upgrades, we'll have a fence, and then we can then connect this into the industry a little bit better. Because I didn't want to fence off the industry when the industry gets its own fence after it levels up, because hopefully once we start delivering, these will share the load equally, and they'll both sort of be level 3 or 4-ish. Alright, so now we're finally getting stone delivered here. I think it's going to take a little bit for this line rate to update, but obviously we want that up around 800, so we'll check back in on that later on. Hopefully this traffic will now start to clear up. I think this is just a little backlog of trucks coming through here for the stone, but other than that, I think this should start clearing up and we'll be back to producing as good as we always have. So let's now move on to our highways, and again later we'll check back up on this area near the end of the video. Alright, so now let's start off with our highways. We're going to get, as I mentioned before, we're going to clean up the highways, make sure they look good road-wise, but I think everything already looked pretty okay. But we're going to add some details such as guardrails and maybe a median and other things, and then we'll clean up like some of this stuff. Unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to get rid of these road markings, but we'll try to make this a little bit more clear, especially with the on and off ramp stuff. We'll add signs, and hopefully by the end of it, this will look like a pretty good and functioning highway. Alright, and so a quick little update here on what we've done. A lot of this was just sort of messing around and seeing what works and what we like and don't like. So we have our sign coming in, signaling the exit to Houston. I'm not too sure how I wanted to lay this out. I am best familiar with US highway signs, and really the best thing I could find on the Steam Workshop was UK signs, which do work pretty well. But if anyone knows of something that's more US based, let me know. But I think this works pretty well. I tried to come up with some sort of notation that works, since usually you go off of mile markers, and in this game highways don't really have that, and measuring that out would be pretty tedious. So I think what I'm going to do is just sort of numerically go up. So we might adjust this later once we do stuff in Portland, but we're going to start here with exit 101 for Lower Houston, and then farther up we'll have another exit that's not built, that'll be 102. And then as for the rest of the interchange, we have our concrete median going through the interchange, and then of course guardrails on each side, protecting the highway and the on and off ramps. Now when it came to this area, I'm not too sure if I exactly like how this looks. Obviously there's nothing we can do about this and the sidewalks being weird, but I do like the concrete median being right here in the middle. However, once we get into this area, I'm not sure if I really like this, but let me know what you guys think, if you think there's a better way we can do this or make this look nicer, or if we should just get rid of the concrete altogether and just leave the road as it was. But I think I'll leave this like this for now. I'm not sure if we'll copy this in other areas, but obviously we'll copy it on the other side of the interchange. But let me know what you guys think about this. And so I think we'll pretty much just copy this over onto this side. One thing I didn't add yet is actually a sign. I guess we don't necessarily need a sign here, since you would know if you're turning onto the highway, but we'll add a sign here just sort of signaling where this on-ramp is taking you, and then again, of course, we'll copy all of that over to this side. now we're back after detailing a couple of our interchanges. So obviously this one that we see here is the first one we did. This is considered our Lower Houston interchange because, again, we're probably going to have another one up here that connects to a road up this way, and then we're going to have another one that connects to the airport. Although I suppose that those could be the same. We'll just have to see what happens later on once we start building that out. And then the other interchange we did was this one here. So we can take a look. You can see we have markings for Salt Lake City, and then to go straight is Allentown and Portland. Again, I don't really have a good numbering system for these exits and interchanges, so if you guys have any recommendations, let me know, but for now, we're just going to sort of follow a numbered order. But you can see here, we added guardrails, a median, everything like that, and I think this came out pretty well. We can actually see it's getting a fair amount of use from some of our private transportation. And then, unfortunately, we didn't get to Salt Lake City here, but I think that will be one of the first things that we work on in the next video, because I do want to give Salt Lake City a good amount of room to expand since we're now providing, I believe, all 6 resources. Yeah, Salt Lake City is looking for close to 6,000 in population, so I think the next video is going to be a really big expansion of Salt Lake City. So we'll get this highway extended and going in the direction we want it to, and then we'll expand the city grid as needed. And then taking a look at Houston here, Houston also needs a lot of people and space. However, we're not providing any goods yet. Let's just make sure. I don't think we ever set this up to... I guess we did set it up to move machines and goods, but I don't think we have a truck line delivering goods yet. So that's something that we'll also set up probably in the next video. So I think next we're going to really focus on expanding Salt Lake City and Houston, since those cities now have all 6 resources being provided. But anyway, let's get back into what we were initially working on in this video, and that is this area down here. And it does look like our traffic is much better now. We don't have any long lines anywhere. It looks like this industry is leveling up and this one's sort of settling into its rhythm. Let's just check our line rate now. So yeah, this is back up to 800 now that things are starting to spread out and become a little bit more even. So that's good to see, and as we unlock more trucks, we can eventually increase this, as I guess ideally in the end we want these both to be maxed out at 800. So that'll just come as our trucks upgrade. And now I want to fix this road here, as whenever a train comes through, which we're actually going to see right now, it causes these trucks to really slow down a lot, and we end up just having a whole bunch of stuff waiting while we wait for the train to come through. So you're going to see here, we'll speed this up, but all of these trucks are just going to stop, get backed up. It really doesn't help, especially when this fuels our only fuel line on this side of the map. We really want to make sure that we have an uninterrupted flow of oil coming into this area. And so I guess in the end, over the long run, this really isn't that big of a deal, but if we can just get a bridge to go over it, I think that'll help greatly with improving the consistency of the line. So again, this isn't something that will be too hard. We just have to find the road that we were using and then just simply create a bridge across here. Alright, now after some quick landscaping and road building, we have this bridge here now that allows our trucks to come right across. I think having a bridge here is kind of nice. It allows us to have a little variation in the terrain, as pretty much this whole portion is entirely flat. So it's nice to introduce some elevation. I think that'll help us later on when it comes to other moves design-wise. Now I would like to smooth some of these slopes out a little bit more, but I think that'll come as development starts to come out this way. But now we should have a consistent flow of trucks coming in here. Everything should work the same. We just no longer have this conflict with the tracks. So I think with that, let's take a closer look at what we've done in this video so far, and then when we come back, we will talk about some next steps and future projects. Alright, and so now that we're back, let's take a look at some things we can work on and sort of what we'll be doing next in this series. So I think this interchange is good. Again, we did talk about expanding Houston more, so I think that's going to be part of our next immediate steps. We're going to get goods coming in through here so we can start providing those. We should see this target population start to shoot up, and then we'll just provide some more space. I think we might fill out all the way to the edge of this highway. We might extend it a bit farther just to get more of an edge, but we'll fill out probably this way, maybe start to fill in a little bit here, and then even this area. We're not really going to get out to here. This is something separate that I kind of want to work on. Hopefully we can just get this to be sort of a small village or a small town eventually. So we're not going to extend too far this way on this side of the tracks. We might, however, think about filling in this area, as this is pretty close to the city center. So if we built some roads here, the city will definitely quickly build to fill out this area. So we might do that, which might involve reworking some of these tracks, but for the most part, that's the plan for Houston at the moment. And then again, obviously next is Salt Lake City, as we mentioned. I think we'll work on Salt Lake City first and then get to Houston if we have time in the next video, because I really want to sort of cap off this highway, bring it around this way, and then obviously we'll get some more development here. I think we might finally develop this area. It's not that much land to work with, but again, we can build it out a little bit if we need to, just so we can get some more roads and population in here. And then I think we'll also aim to completely fill out this area all the way out to the water. I think that'll bring Salt Lake City to a nice sort of stopping point. So basically just filling out all of this land here, and we'll have this train track serve as our boundary for the moment. And so just taking a look at some other things around the map, Portland is finally starting to come up on its target population number. So maybe when we start doing goods to Houston, we'll start thinking about bringing machines and goods into Portland. It just depends on if we can retrofit these trains to bring those resources on the way back, since it very obviously seems like there's room to bring stuff back on this train. So that'll bring in a whole lot more money on this line. And then that'll also help bump up growth in Portland so we can continue to see this area start filling out. And it looks like everything's doing good out here by our machines factory. It looks like it actually needs more steel now at this point. It's only producing about 500. I don't know what we were trying to target here, but this sawmill is pumping out almost 800 for machines. So I think if we can get this machines factory maxed out, that would be good pretty soon at some point. Unfortunately, we're going to run into the same problem with trucks. We're sort of limited by the size of our trucks at the moment. Although I suppose we could build a more efficient offload area, but I already feel like this road's fairly crowded. I suppose we could get more trains running, as we do have space for more trains, or we could even get longer trains to get just more resources coming into this steel mill. But I think we're starting to get to the point here on this iron and coal mine stuff where we're limited by our vehicles and vehicle sizes. But let's check in on our goods, and it seems like we're producing goods. It looks like most things are getting what they need. Let's see how this line is doing financially, and this definitely looks like it's turning into something that will consistently earn us money, so I'm more than happy with how this all turned out. Roswell, again, at some point I do want to come in here and expand some of the streets. We might do that after we settle in everything with Houston and Salt Lake City. We can see the city is starting to build its own streets out on this area, which is kind of what we wanted to see. I'm not too sure how far out the city's willing to build from its center, so it's nice to see that we are at least getting a road out here, so we might be able to start populating that just through the game AI. I think we're definitely going to have to start addressing things here in Lincoln. We've let it get out of hand for way too long, so that's going to be something that we also do very soon. And then checking in on Tacoma. Tacoma seems to be doing very well. It's about at its target population, and it's actually filled out this area quite nicely. It hasn't quite reached the boundary yet, but that's good as it leaves some room to grow. And I think Tacoma's turning out to be a pretty good city. Eventually, this is going to be probably our next stop for our highway, getting the highway extended all the way out to Tacoma. But again, that's probably not going to be for a while. And one thing I do want to do is check in on our airports, as we did recently upgrade our planes, and it looks like some of these buses might actually have people on them, or maybe not. But we did have one person dropped off here, and we have 2 people waiting to get on a bus out of the airport. We take a look at our finances. We can see it did go up a tiny bit when we upgraded our planes, but obviously we're not moving that many people. We have 3 people on this plane, and then I suppose 1 more person on one of our other planes. So this one here has 1 person on it. I think it might just be a matter of time until we get there. Obviously, I think as time goes on, passengers are willing to travel farther for destinations. So hopefully just as time goes on, vehicles get faster, our planes and buses get faster, more people will be willing to take these. And then of course, once we start connecting more cities to these, such as connecting Lincoln to the airport here, and over in Houston getting Salt Lake City and Portland connected to that airport, we'll start to get a lot more demand going through there. Alright, and so I think with that, we're going to leave this video off here. So if you enjoyed this episode, please like and subscribe. If you have any suggestions or feedback, leave a comment below. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.